Separation of substances. Separation of substances. There are many instances when we notice a substance being separated from a mixture of materials. Tea leaves are separated from the liquid with a strainer by preparing tea. Hand picking. It is the simplest method of separation of substances. This method is used only when unwanted material is in small quantity. Moreover, shape, size, or color of the unwanted material is different from that of the useful materials. For example, pebbles, broken grains, and insects are separated from rice, wheat, and pulses by hand picking. Threshing. The process that is used to separate grain from stalk is known as threshing. In the process, the stalks are beaten to free the grain seeds. Sometimes threshing is done by bullocks. Machines are also used to thresh large quantities of grain. Winnowing. The method used to separate heavier and lighter components by wind or by blowing air is known as winnowing. In the method, the heavier particles fall near to the person and lighter particles fall at a distance. In the method, the person takes a plate, which is also known as the winnowing plate. The heavier particle falls down and the lighter particles fall at a distance. So, in this process, we can differentiate between the grain and the husk. Sieving. Sieve or sifter is a device for separating wanted elements from unwanted materials or for characterizing the particle size distribution of a sample. In cooking, a sifter is used to separate and break up clumps in dry ingredients such as flour as well as to aerate and combine them. A strainer is a form of sieve used to separate solids from liquid. Sieving is always done with two solid components. Such this is used for the cement which is used for making the buildings. The stones are collected by the net over the net and the sand or the cement goes down. In this, the net holds the unwanted particle upside and the wanted particle goes down. Sedimentation and decantation. When the heavier component in a mixture settles down after water is added to it, that process is known as sedimentation. When the water along with that heavier particle which has settled down is removed, that process is known as decantation. See, these are the heavier particles which are settled down at the bottom of the water. This process is known as sedimentation. But when we pour the water with the heavier particle into another container, the water only goes in the another container, but the heavier particles stay in that container. Filtration. In this method, there is a cloth-like paper known as filter paper which is on a funnel. Then under the funnel a container is kept. The liquid, such as water, with the unwanted particle is poured into funnel. The unwanted particle is then separated into the filter paper and the clear liquid will be in the container. The fluid or liquid that passes through the funnel is called the filtrate. This is a filter paper and how it is put in the funnel. It is also a type. Of, it is also a type of filtration. The water which is settling down, this red water which is settling down, this is known as the filtrate. Now let's talk about evaporation. Evaporation is a type of evaporation of a liquid that occurs from the surface of a liquid into a gaseous phase. The other type of evaporation is boiling, which is characterized by bubbles. Steam produced in a boiler is another example of evaporation occurring in a saturated vapor phase. For example, in the coastal region, in the coastal region we must have seen the the white sand, which is the salt, is collected. How it is collected? The water is kept and the sun make the water or vaporize the water into the air and the salt is left. This is how we get the salt. Condensation. Condensation is a change of the physical state of matter from gas phase into liquid phase and is the reverse of evaporation. The word most often refers to the water cycle. It can also be defined as a change in the state of water vapor to liquid water when it contact with a liquid or solid surface or cloud condensation. For example, if we put a vessel in which there is water and then boil it and then keep another utensil or a plate above it, there will be some water droplets. That is the condensation. This is the water. The water goes up because of the sun. Then it comes down. Then it makes a cloud and then comes down to the sea again. The cloud and the rain is the condensation, and the ocean and the sun is the evaporation. Activities: sedimentation, decantation. Take mud and water, mix them, then let mud settle down. Take another container, then pour the water in the another container. The mud will settle in the first container and water will go in second container. Thank you.